Welcome to another episode of Convos Create Change. This week I have Easy back in town from Super Bowl vacation, and I have a very special guest that's very near and dear to my heart. The man I'm named after, the man that taught me, helped me shape into the man that I am today. My father, Mr. Scott Gordon, is a part of our panel today. I want to bring everybody aboard so we can have a good conversation. Last week I kind of delayed the conversation. I didn't want to get too much into the Kobe topic because I wanted to bring my panel in this week, but I wanted us to touch on the basis, and I wanted to really understand where you guys were and how you felt when you heard the tragic helicopter accident that involved Kobe, his daughter, and the other 7 members that crashed in the helicopter accident.
I know for me, I was actually hosting a day party event.
I think I called you in there.
Yeah, you called me. Yeah, you called me, and it was crazy. I missed your call.
No. That was before. Well, he was working. He was working.
I was working.
He's a host.
Working.
I just heard that on the last.
Oh yeah, that was when he was.
episode. That's what your man put you out there. Said you was dotting bopping.
They tried to put me out there, but no, it was really, it was shocking, man. The first time in my life where I was really, actually, truly shocked and took him back because I mean, honestly, in our culture, death is sadly common. It's so regular in our everyday lives. So to see someone that at my age and my generation I really grew up on and really watched full time and seen a lot of his life and seen a lot of things that he was doing, actually got a chance to see him play before he passed away. It was very, very shocking for me. Like I had to announce it on the microphone. Like I had to cut the music off, and I didn't want to do it, but I felt responsible that I had to let people know because it was instant. Like everything was going on in this world. Your news is your phone. So
and that's the crazy thing is, I was actually on the phone with P, our other normal co-host, and somebody texted me, Kobe died. And I looked at the phone while I was driving. I was like, let me call you right back. He was like, what's wrong? I was like, let me call you right, because I know how big of a Kobe fan he is, so I didn't want to just tell him that and not even check to make sure it was really factual, because I was on the way to y'all crib at the time. And I started calling everybody. And the thing was, I wasn't a huge Kobe fan basketball-wise. I was always a LeBron fan, so it was always like a battle within greatness between the two, who's better or whatnot, you know what I mean? But also, that's the main reason why I wanted to bring you on the show this week, you being a therapist and us going through this grief period with a superstar this big. I don't think we've ever experienced this in our culture. Not to take away from the greatness behind us with the legends that we do have behind us on our wall, but I think for someone to have a whole 20-year career, I think it was the biggest, longest superstar that we had passed, and I think it affected so many people. It affected people from 40, 50 years old all the way down to 14, 15 years old, where in those situations you had just different fans of their music, but Kobe was international, a superstar. And so I wanted to bring you on because at this point in time, like you said, grief and death is so common in our culture. It was interesting to see so many men in pain and so many men going through that.
Yeah.
And I think I called you right after. I was like, yeah, Kobe died, bro. You was like, what the hell?
Yeah, I think for a lot of people, they kind of shed a little tear, too. Like, a lot of people that was tough guys and some of them.
It humbled us. I had just gotten off the phone, and I saw it, like, flash off, on the TV. So I went to, Google and see if anything was up there because nobody was reporting it.
Right.
Except TNZ,
Yeah, I said that, too. I said that, too.
Yeah.
So, but after a while, it just started coming in. And I just looked at, your mortality was the word that really hit me. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, I wasn't a Kobe's fan as far as him. No doubt he's in the top 5 to 10 all time, no question. But I'm a Mike fan first, then Braun, and all of that. But what really, affected me was Kobe's arc. Kobe's arc and what he was doing, like they said, with the second chapter. But what floored me as a father was when I heard that his daughter was on the plane. I was done, man. I was done for the rest of the day. I couldn't really cope with that, man, because, there are 5 steps to grief, clinical steps to grief. You have denial, you have anger, you have bargaining, you have depression, and the last one is acceptance. So at first, the whole country was in denial.
Right.
We just
Definitely.
like, nah,
Right.
not Kobe, come on,
That's
man.
true.
You know, and it's not that. But what came out of it, because I'm not the type of dude that, you know, I have a good faith base, you know what I'm saying? I have a good relationship with God, but I'm not a person that won't question what's going on.
True. True.
And I had to find out, because as a therapist, I tell my clients all the time, look for the silver lining. Every cloud has a silver lining.
I'm glad you said that.
So,
I believe in that. I believe
know
in
what
the
I'm
silver
saying?
lining. I believe in
There's
that.
a lesson to be learned out of everything. So what is our lesson, man? So I was like, God, really, what you trying to tell us, man? What's going on right now? And what came to me is that for the first time in probably ever, you saw black men grieving openly.
Right.
Openly sobbing.
And simultaneously.
I mean, yeah, like you
Like
like
for
Doc
real.
Rivers, like Shaq. There's no more exhibit of black masculinity than Shaquille O'Neal.
Yeah, true.
7'2", 300.
Yeah.
Big
you know what I'm
fella.
saying? Big
Right.
fella. And Big fella was sitting there bawling.
Right. Yeah.
Bawling on national TV. He couldn't even get his words. So oftentimes we can't express ourselves because a lot of things that we do in everyday life, the traumatic of everyday life as an African American in this society, we take, it's just normal.
Right.
Like death is normal to us.
Right.
So my silver lining for Kobe was, let's talk about the dialogue. Let's talk about the dialogue of grief, about mental health, about generational trauma. That was what I got from it.
I think there's a lot of generational trauma, and I think a lot of times we go through it independently, you know, when you deal with something within your family. But this is the first time I ever saw it on a national scale,
Yeah.
where it affected so many different people. Because I remember a period about 10 years ago that we went through when we lost your mother, my grandmother, and then I think for that 2 years, like we was losing somebody every 6 months. You know, we lost your goddaughter, Latrice, then we lost Mama, and then we lost Latrice's mother. So like within the 2-year period, we went through 4 different funerals, and it was like, and at that point in time, I just became numb. You know what I mean? I think a lot of times we don't really understand or know how to express those emotions, especially as me being the oldest grandchild. When I lost my grandmother, I felt like I had to be the one that held it together. I think a lot of times when we go through grief, people even feel like they shouldn't cry. And I feel like I didn't express that emotion of grief or pain at that time until I really let it sit in, like, damn, like.
Yeah, they're actually gone.
Yeah.
Right, and I think.
Because if you look in society, what's the only acceptable emotion? I used to do, when I first started being a clinician or therapist, I used to do anger management classes for mandated. So if you had a domestic violence charge, you had to come to my class. So we had to speak about your emotions. And I would ask the brothers, and you know, some hardcore brothers in there, you know what I'm saying? I would ask them, what is the only acceptable emotion that we as men, but black men in particular, what is that emotion that we can show? And that's anger.
Yeah.
We can show anger.
Quick.
We can show anger. It's acceptable. You know, you can be a boxer, you can be a football player. Get that, you know.
Get that
knock
aggression
the
off.
motherfuckers out. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? We can show that. But if somebody comes to you and say, yo, man, I'm feeling depressed or I'm feeling lonely. You
No,
be like,
that's
yo,
soft.
Man, yeah. But
Those
you
are
see,
soft.
that's what the problem is, man, is when we get into, and that's another topic about toxic masculinity.
That's a good one.
You know what I'm saying? When we talk about it, that we can express our feelings. We have to be able to do that. And it's taken me a while. I'm 55 years old. And it's taken me a while to be able to, you know, express that I can cry.
Right.
And it doesn't, because I'm comfortable in my manhood.
Right,
I'm
right,
comfortable
right,
with
right.
and it takes you a while to get that, because I was guilty of it as a father, you
Right.
know, and I've apologized several times to my sons, you know, growing up, as I saw the light, you feel me, on, yo, don't cry, get up, you soft, you punk, stop being a girl.
Right.
Which is derogatory to females.
Right,
You feel
right.
me? What's wrong with that? What's wrong with showing your emotion? What's wrong with, being sensitive?
I think I'm going through that battle actually right now with my son. He's just turned 10, and
I thought he turned 10 tomorrow.
yeah, tomorrow.
Okay.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday,
Remember I
Kai.
was on the phone with you and I was like,
Yeah.
I was talking to his son.
Okay.
Like-
Shout out.
To Kai.
And
Yeah,
even
my
and
dog
even
Kai.
with that, like because like I said, I told bro, like they don't make a book on how to be a father, like on how to really set yourself up.
I'm
for
writing
it.
one now.
Hey man, hey, put it. I really agree. Like put it out because honestly, I would say a black father, and not to go against any other race, but it's way different for us.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to teach my son about his culture, about the things that I'm like, you don't just wake up and learn these things. You gotta find it out. You gotta learn it, and trying to teach him how to be, a man, a stand-up guy, and not cry, and go through your battles, go through your journeys. But it's different because, just like you said, it is kind of wrong to kind of push that side out of him. You know what I'm saying? Because it's been years since I've really, truly cried, man. Like, and it's deep because I haven't suffered those close losses like that. You know what I'm saying? Even with the Kobe situation, like my eyes started getting watered, but it was like, nah, I'm gonna suck this up. Like, can't cry right now. Like, and it is,
Right.
it's real.
Why?
Man.
But see, that's what it is. I was, I deal with a lot of adolescents. I deal with, the preteens, the teenagers, the young adults. And one of the documentaries that I show all my male clients is called The Mask You Live In. And if you ever get a chance, it's on Netflix. Check it out.
I'm
The
checking
Mask
it out.
You Live In. And one of the things at the beginning, the first 5 minutes is so powerful. The phrase that they talk about is that the most detrimental thing that a father could say to his son is be a man. What is that? What is that? That's basically, man up, be a man, all of that, because that always deals with aggression. That always deals with something that you can't be. I always give the example that if you had a child on the playground, 5-year-old child, they fall down and they scrape their leg. What do? And often I hear, well, is it a girl or a boy? Does it make a difference? But it does in our society.
It
I'm
does.
about to say,
It
I'm
does
about
in
to say,
our
it does. It
society.
definitely does.
It does in our
Does in our
society
society.
because you're going to go
You're gonna nurture
and
the girl.
nurture.
True.
Come here, baby. Come
Yeah,
here, daddy's
it's
girl.
okay, it's okay.
And y'all talked about that last week of being a dad's girl.
Right.
And it's crazy. Like my son, I called him, but that's a difference. That's another conversation. But to my son, what we going? Man, get up, man. You all right? You all right?
Right.
Stop being soft, man. Instead of embrace, he's 5 years old. Embrace him and say, hey, I'm here to protect you as well.
Right.
But we fear. Everything we do out of fear always comes back to us. You raise your sons out of fear of them being like a girl, so being homosexual.
Yeah.
Okay? If they are, you still got to love them. Or being soft or being dominated in this society, because softness means that you pray. When I grew up in the Bronx, you couldn't be soft because you became prey.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
And you don't want to be prey out in these streets, man.
Yeah.
So
Right.
you're fearful for the survivability of your sons, so you parent from fear instead of love.
Right. But some people parent part-time because, to be honest, like my older brother was a bigger father figure to me than my dad was. So I had to learn the tough love because he wasn't trying to be a father. He was trying to be a brother. So he was like, nah, we ain't having none of that. If you got a problem, we're gonna take care of it. Like growing up in Mobile and growing up in Alabama, it was like that. Like you can't be prey out here.
You can't be soft,
You can't sit out here and allow someone to punk you, say what they want to say about you, or like it was just those things, and it was different. But I'm like, man, my son is in a whole different era. Like this is a whole different type. You can get bullied on social media, and they really take it to their soul.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? They take it to their heart.
When
So-
sticks and stones.
Yeah.
Didn't used to fuck with you, but
No,
now
no.
these days niggas is sensitive by liking a comment. But I think it's prevalent because, like you said, your situation is different from my situation,
Right.
and I didn't realize how important it was, the relationship I have with my father,
Big.
until I got a lot older and I realized a lot of people didn't have that relationship. You know what I mean? And to be able to have that comfort. And I think our relationship switched as I got to about preteen, 13, 14 years old, where we got to those conversations where you can have those open conversations where you don't feel like you have to hide something from your parent.
Right.
I think a lot of times parents act like kids don't go through shit. And when you have that conversation, I remember like 10th grade, we was talking about sex and me smoking weed. And at that point in time, I feel like that was my life change. Like I was like,
let me open it up. Yeah.
Like shit, well y'all know now. Like you know, like shit, all right, well since we talking about this shit, well go get me some condoms then. You know what I'm saying?
These
like,
conversations need to be addressed and need to be comfortable.
Right.
You know, like it need to be comfortable between father and son, but our society, man, is like I'm just trying to figure out what is the way to get us to that point where it's a comfort.
I think the young lady Jazzy that was on last week, she had made a comment about we parent either the polar opposite or the exact same that we would parent depending on our experience.
True.
And I had to parent the opposite. You know, my pops wasn't in the house. You feel me? My grandfather did as good as he could, but, you know, I had to, and the thing that I always strive for as a father is to be present. Me and his mom, you know, divorced when he was 8, 9 years old.
Right.
You know, but it was my life mission. See, and shout out to his moms, man, because she knew the importance of her sons being raised by a man.
Right.
So unlike many women, she gave me, I was the 80, you know, you always have the 80-20 parent.
Right.
Where mom usually has 80% of the child 80% of the time and pop. But it was switched. She sent my sons to me, man.
Right.
She sent my sons to me, so I had to do it all. You feel me? But that gave me a perspective of my relationship and how important it is to me for them. Because I always thought that, but in hindsight, you know, I looked at it and said, well, you know what? Dads need their, you know, sons need their dads more than girls need their father. Absolutely not. Because now having daughters,
Right.
because with the girl dad, I never made a post of, being a girl dad. Because I'm a dad. You know what I'm saying?
Real.
So
a guy dad and a girl dad.
He
He asked
me
me about, yeah.
I'm like, yo, B, so how you feel if, you know, I made the post? You know, he's like, I don't care, you know, you are. And it was funny because my youngest daughter, shout out Hallie and Kelly, my babies, and his younger brother Malik, but my younger daughter said, Dad, I feel you were a better girl dad than a boy dad. And I said, you know what? I think I evolved as a dad.
I think you were at a different place in your life because your kids are so separate. Like you had, like me and Malik, you were 23 when you had me, 24, 25 when you had Malik, and then you were what, almost 40, no, 37, 38 when you had Kelly, and you know what I'm saying? So you evolved as a person into a different space, you know what I mean? Especially because I grew up on Biggie, Jay-Z, Mary J. Blige, where you got them listening to Baby Einstein, and they go into private schools, and their best friends are Ludacris' daughter and Will Packer's daughter, and they're at the fucking, what's the shit that spin at the top? Not the Westin, what's the restaurant downtown?
The spin at the top.
Yeah, I know what he's talking about. I can't
They just
think
going
of
to
it
dinners,
right
and it's like regular birthday dinners. They backstage at the Justin Bieber concert. Like, I didn't grow up like that. You know what I'm saying? It's a whole different era, and it's a whole different
maturity. He matured up in a different way.
Definitely, you had a whole 10 years of parenting first off, and so I think a lot of times when you went through that, you used to kind of be like, damn, I wasn't as comforting to you and Malik, but I appreciated it. I mean, there was some times where you were really tough on me. I mean, bro, I remember one time, y'all, this is the funniest story ever. So I cursed my mom. I got like, I was in 9th grade, right? I was failing like 6 out of 7 classes. Mind you, before 9th grade, I never made a B in my life.
And yo, his name is Smart, so
I'm like a challenge. I'm in a challenge program. I'm in Magnet. I'm at Westlake, right? I'm failing 6 out of 7 classes. And I got my little braids going together. They like, you need to cut your hair. My mom's 4'11", first off, right? And she stays on Fairmont Road in Southwest Atlanta, Campbellton Road, a little bit in that area. He stays in Lithonia. She's like, you and your brother need to cut your hair. I'm like, man, I ain't cut my hair over no braids. Like, y'all tripping. I got my little braids going together. Bruh, she called this dude. He drove all the way to the other side of town in like 20 minutes from Brown's Mill. He gets there. I'm thinking, this is my partner. Like, this is my dog. Like, we
got a different
he
bond.
gonna feel me, right? Like, Pop, come on now. I'm not coming. This nigga grabbed me by my throat, slammed me through the closet in the barbershop, threw me in the chair and just gave me a ying, ying, ying. I'm talking about,
straight, a prison cut.
I ain't had no hairline. I ain't have nothing. And I was just like this is real. And then my little brother sitting there, and he tough too. He like, shit, I'm with my brother. I'm with whatever. He get the same treatment. So we in here looking like we just been through all our hair done fell out type situation. But in that moment, I understood like, damn, like this dude ain't playing. You know what I mean? Like this is a real, but it was a moment in disrespecting your mother. You know what I'm saying? And that was the lesson from it. I was like, because even the barber's like, bro, your dad come here. He not playing with you, dog. Like I can tell it in his voice when he get here. I'm thinking like Pop's going, like we've had an open relationship. We can talk about stuff. We can communicate. Like he can feel where I'm coming from a lot of times. Because a lot of times, even when I went through a lot of the street stuff I was trying to engage in, he had already experienced it. So it was like, all right.
Helped you out a lot.
Yeah. Right, but in that moment, it wasn't no talking.
It was crazy
wasn't no rap.
My man Flip had just opened up a new barbershop.
We was right there by the big Oom store in Campbellton Road.
So I called him up because I didn't want to blow up his spot. Like, yo, B, you know, you got a lot of customers because I'm getting ready to get really rah-rah up in here. He's like, no, you do what you have to do. You come in here because I know how you are. Because the thing, again, me and their moms weren't together. There was no, you know, I was remarried. You feel me? Right. But the thing about it is that I'm going to teach them respect of their queen.
Regardless.
That's their queen.
Regardless.
Whatever you say, man, you're not going to disrespect your mom. Not while I have, air in my lungs. You know what I'm saying? So that was a point where I probably could have handled it differently, but they had to.
They had to see.
They had to see the severity.
Then I got my ass whooped after that when I got home.
Oh yeah, like Kunta Kinte. Like, yo, I didn't play because that's your mom's. Right. You know what I'm saying? Whatever the things you're going to respect, the woman that gave you respect. You feel me? They gave you life. Excuse me. So, it was things like that, we don't have a blueprint, like you said, as parents. But one thing that I think that allows me to be a better parent is I learn from my mistakes. Right. You feel me? Right. I learned, like he was talking about, me and my sons today, put on Jay-Z's blueprint. We will rhyme from the first verse to the last verse, every bar. Right. Me and my sons. But my daughters were different, I had to see because, being a school teacher, I was a school teacher for 20 years, and when I was on car duty, it was kind of embarrassing that you got kids coming to the car who on a kindergarten, first grade reading level, but the words that's coming out their dad's car, and they all bitch, this,
true.
All of that. True. So I was like, that's not even cool, man.
But I think a lot of time our culture encourages that. Like you'll see a lot of the parents that put the videos up of them singing a song or knowing all the lyrics or dancing and stuff like that. Like we don't praise education enough in our culture. Right. And that's one of the things I always appreciated was that balance. You know what I mean? Like, and I think that's the biggest tool that I have that allows me to walk the lines that I walk right now, where one moment I could be at an NAACP meeting, then the next moment I could be in the Bluff with a whole bunch of gangbanging ass niggas. And you know what I'm saying? Because I'm still myself in every situation, but at the same time I was educated so I could hold an educated conversation about something of substance, but at the same time my grandmother still stay in the projects. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like, niggas was like, no, you really stay in the project. Like, you come from the streets for real. And I think that element is still him. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, that was who he is, and that's what helped me to shape me as a person, whereas it was a comfort zone where you didn't have to put yourself in a box. Right. You couldn't box me in. You can't tell me how I have to act. Like, you can't tell me, oh, you got to be an activist. You got to act this way. Mm-hmm. No, my nigga. I'm going to sip my Hennessy as I record Convos Create Change, and I'm going to be myself at all times.
He gave you free room to be the individual that you decided to be. I think,
but that's who he is. Right. You know what I'm saying? And
I think a lot of times we try to force us into our children. You know what I'm saying? We want them to be as much of like us as they possibly can, but they are their own person. Yeah. It was weird to me because just seeing my son get older, it was like, man, like night and day. Like, he's completely his own person. But I have to help guide him down the right path of life that can help construct him into the better man that he can be.
Like, real talk, man, I don't even know if he knows that. 8th grade prom. Now, this motherfucker got a limo, 8th grade prom. So I'm like, fuck we gonna do for high school? A helicopter?
Me,
But-
you know, Young Book.
So I'm sitting down there.
yeah,
Boop.
Book.
Yeah, Book was
We
there.
all
Shout out
there.
to my dog.
So,
Book. Yeah.
you know, I'm Pop to the whole, like his whole crew. I'm Pop. You know, Mr. G Pop, this, that, and
Right.
the other thing. That's just who I am.
Yeah, with
but
DeMarcus
I
and
sat back
Bussy, all of them.
and watched him at the, you know, at the prom, his mannerisms, his cool swagger, and I got teary-eyed, man, because I was like, yo,
Yeah.
that's my man right there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's my, you know, I was proud of that. And that's what gives me joy. I hit him the other day because Scotty talks about legacy all the time. Legacy all the time. And I told him, you, your brother, and your sisters, that's my legacy.
True.
He's like, yo, Pop, you know, you was a teacher to hundreds. You touch families with your therapy and things like that. But my job, because all of that wouldn't be nothing. How can I counsel somebody on taking care of their family if I don't take care of mine? You feel
Right,
me?
right.
I got to lead by example. But my greatest legacy are my seeds, because if they good people, I feel successful. I feel that I've done, not the degrees that I have, you know, none of that. Not the cars that I drive, not the house, you know, but being a parent, because they didn't ask to be here.
Right.
You know what I mean? And the thing about it is we didn't have a perfect situation.
I
But what
know.
we did is that, and both of mine, I don't have any BMs, I have ex-wives, because I valued them that much that I married them.
Respect.
But both of my ex-wives understand that we put all our differences aside to raise our children.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like my daughter's mom, she'll work my nerves all the time. But if my daughters are in the car, I'm not saying nothing foul about her.
Never.
You know, because I'm
Yeah,
not doing that.
never,
You know what I'm saying?
never did.
Just like their mom can call me today. If she's in need of something, I'm going to try to help her out, because if their mother's fucked up, then they going to be fucked up. And I can
True.
never let my sons be fucked up
Very
like that.
true.
I think that was one of the moments that I realized like how strong my family bond is. Was the moment my great grandmother died, Mama, which is my mom's grandmother, and my dad spoke at the funeral. You know what I'm saying? I was like, that's deep. You know what I mean? Like
Man, that was an
respected-
honor. That was a crazy
But-
honor that they respected me enough. That's not my blood. My mama was my grandmother too. You know
Right.
what I'm saying?
Right.
She looked out for me and my family, things like that. So it was just love. Because one thing that I try to teach my children, that I teach my clients, is integrity.
Right.
And my definition is integrity is, well, it's not mine. I probably stole it from somebody, but it's doing the right thing when nobody's
looking.
watching.
Yeah.
All right.
And-
Do the right thing when nobody's watching.
And that's what goes into like building a legacy. You know what I mean? For me, I think like when we get back to talking about grief and pain and death, like I feel like when you go out like Kobe. You know what I'm saying? Like you go out where the whole world feels hurt about losing you. You go out like Nipsey where the whole city feels the pain because you had such an impact on those lives. And that's what I've been saying, like I've seen death so much in my life that I'm numb to it, but I think about it all the time, and I think about the impact that I want to have on this world so that whenever my time comes, even if it's tomorrow, God forbid, a tragic situation, but even if it happens, I built something that the Smart Foundation can go on
Can pass
beside.
on, yeah.
Right, it's like he was working towards something. He stood for something. You understand that I wasn't just, I feel like you either die a regular nigga or you die a legend. You know what I mean? And I think you have to work towards your legacy that lives on after you. And so I always wanted to have something that, and it really, if we go back on it, like the whole Smart Foundation conversation starts back from you about 5 years ago. It was your 50th birthday. And I was like, he used to have a summer camp called Mdogo Kondo, which was meant young warriors in Swahili. It was an all-boys summer camp. We used to do math, science, workout, all this stuff. And I was like, damn, we need stuff like that. And our relationship, I'm one of those people that you can't really challenge to do something. I love a challenge.
Right.
And at that point, he's like, man, I'm getting old. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was turning 50 at the time. He was like, why don't you start something like that? And at the same time, that's when I birthed the Smart Foundation. You know what I'm saying? That's when I was like, how do I take my fuck-ups and how do I put that in our culture?
Right.
And I looked at like I said, I was that smart kid, you know what I'm saying? But that wasn't the cool thing to do. That's why I started the slogan, smart is the new cool.
Agree.
And I was just like, why don't we embrace intelligence enough? If we know that's the key to get out of our situations, why do we put so much of the dumb, ignorant shit in the forefront of our culture?
Absolutely.
Right.
And so from there, it was like, I'm going to brand intelligence to our culture. I'm going to make the Smart Foundation. Shit, I damn near took that shit on as my last name. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's my alias. Scott, for y'all that don't know, Scotty Smart is not my real name.
No.
I am.
I had to look at that shit like, yo, bro, what you doing, man? You
I'm
know,
a junior. This is.
Fuck is
I'm
going
named
on
after
here?
him. Right. His last name is Gordon. Now, my last name is Gordon. I'm named after him. But I think about the legacy that I want, and I strive for that every day. The impact that I want. Like, I know this week I'm going to talk at like 3 high schools.
See, but do you see the consistency of a real parent that was there that helped you become who you are today and more what you're going to be in the future? You get what I'm saying?
yo,
Like,
my man, the word that you said is so powerful. Become. I didn't make him. I let him become who he is. He's
Right.
got some characteristics that are mine that are not, but he's his own man. And you got to allow people to be who they are, not a microcosm. I'm very proud of this kid. Is he taking the roads that I would want him to take? Nah.
Right.
I know he can be, you know. I'm halfway through my doctorate, you know. I had to stop and
If
do
you
some
tell me to go
things.
back to school one more
Yeah,
time.
but it really told me the knowledge of millennials and what's more important to as you. And I talked to him about that, and that's why I accepted who he was. Because, you know, mom be calling me, that motherfucker need a job. You
Yeah,
know,
man.
he's out here changing
I've
the
been getting
world.
that.
But, you know, and I said, you know, but you got to chill because he's on a different trajectory. You know what I
Right.
mean? He wants to, y'all are more, we work to get a job, to pay our family, to support our family, to do this. We ain't care if we liked it. You feel
Right.
me? We didn't really care, especially growing up, if it made a difference.
Right,
Fuck
right.
what you talk about.
Right.
It paid the bill.
Right.
My kids is eating. That was our thing. Y'all different. Y'all cut different. You feel me? Y'all want, if your job is not fulfilling to y'all, if y'all
True.
don't feel a purpose to
True.
it, I'm out. Y'all
True.
leave it. Y'all be leaving like, I'm like,
That's
damn, y'all
no-
just, you know.
that is no lie, man. I'm gonna be honest with you. Before I got into this entertainment side, mom was on the same thing. You got to get a job. You got to do something to get some income. I said, mom, I found a passion. I found something that I love to do regardless. Wake, sleep, tired regardless. I will love to do this for as long as I can do it because I get a true joy from it. Going to work and doing that, I could be a great worker. I can work hard at
right.
any job, at any establishment. But then in the back of my mind, I sit there like, I'm working for somebody that I can be beyond this. I feel like I have a
Absolutely.
different vision. I have a
I
entrepreneur
went through
drive
that.
about me. Like, and no one's seen it. I feel like my mom and my parents were like, man,
Because it's so systematic to tell. It's like we're programmed for a certain thing. Like school programs you to be an employee. You know what I mean? Like, and I went through that period where I sold cars for 4 or 5 years,
I remember.
and I made a great amount of money doing it. But at the same time, I was there 50, 60 hours a week. You know what I'm saying? I never had a Saturday off. Like, I'm a kid that grew up at the park. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So for me not to be able to go and see my cousins play, to go see and support my people that coach and see their
Right.
teams, that bothered me. Like, I wasn't happy, even though I was financially set. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Or
Paying bills.
Right. I'm good financially. I'm making $5,000 a week. $5,000 a month. Excuse me. I ain't $5,000 a week. That's a great.
Well, you
that's-
crazy.
That's amazing. But and we getting there. But I had to really sit back and I had to go through a period of who I am. You know what I'm saying? Especially coming into my own as a activist and an entrepreneur, and understand that this lane is different from me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And this lane is one where you have to figure out the basics of entrepreneurship. You have to figure out a product. You know what I'm saying? The basics of business. And I feel like my whole thing is to teach our next generation to explore business options more because everything's a business. So now when I go and talk to a school or an idea like that, I want to explore their dreams. I want to figure out, I want to give them those tools because we have a lot of undeveloped talent. We have a lot of kids who have a lot of potential who don't have guidance in that field. You know what I'm saying? Like the other day, P showed me his son wants to be a newscaster.
Yeah, he do.
And he's like, what, 7, 8 years old?
Yeah.
And as it snowed, he reported the news.
He's
dope.
on it.
He out there like,
That's dope.
I'm reporting live. You know what I'm saying?
He got
But-
the mannerisms and everything.
and one of the conversations that always stuck with me from my grandmother was that oh, you should be on TV or you should be speaking. And I never thought about it like that. You know what I'm saying? So now when I'm embracing Convos Create Change, when I'm embracing the Justice Media Network, when I had to come out of my shell as an introvert to say, you know what, maybe I can be comfortable in front of a camera. Maybe I can be talking about something knowledgeable, but I have to know what I'm talking about and feel comfort in that lane.
Right.
And so I think a lot of times we don't have structure to shape our thought process or help us develop into who we can be. We don't have a plan of action. And that's the whole thing with me. It's like, all right, you want to be whatever you want to be. And I'm never going to try to take away from your idea. I'm never going to try to take away from your dream. But do you understand the work ethic? And that's the biggest thing I took away from the Kobe Bryant situation, or that Mamba mentality. It's like, all right, cool. If you want to be the greatest basketball player you can, and you think that's cool,
Go right ahead.
fine. But how much work are you willing to put in to get to that point?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Scotty was a great 8-year-old basketball player. Great. Because I put a basketball and a baseball in his hand when he was like 2.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So he made the AAU team, whatever. So he was head and shoulders above his peers. However, as they started to mature, he didn't work on his game enough.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of like vertically challenged as well.
Yeah.
I'm only
understand
5'7".
But, you know,
I'm not
but
gifted in
what
the
I
height
told him is
department.
that, yo, while you sitting here playing the game or
Yeah.
watching TV,
Yeah.
them people that's hungry is working on that left hand, bro.
Right, that's true.
They working on that
That's
left
true.
hand. So that's what the Mamba mentality is. It's
Right.
whatever you want to do it to the fullest.
101%.
If I'm going to be the therapist, I'm going to be the best therapist. And my goal, and I'm saying out to everybody out there, is to eradicate the stigma of mental health in the African American community. That's my life goal for right now. So, because we kind of mystify this mental health thing. It's conversations, brother. It's the conversations that we're having right now
Right.
that you can trust and allow people to get things that they would never, normally get off their chest. They can speak about that because that's what we are. We are so programmed as African Americans to tolerate things that are traumatic. One of the greatest scenes in one of the greatest movies ever, Boys in the Hood. Hey, you want to see a dead body?
Well, I picked another scene. I picked the scene when the father walked up to the billboard, and we talked about that on one of the episodes.
Gentrification joint? Yes, sir.
I said that really
Furious
resonated
style.
back.
Yeah,
Like
furious.
cold
But think
motherfucker.
about that scene when they go and the little doughboys and all of them. You want to see a dead body, and there's somebody shot on the street, and it's like, okay.
And it's-
that's every day.
It's like even today, like you wake up on Instagram and you happen to see somebody you don't know on your timeline. There's either one or two things. Either it's their birthday
Yeah.
or they just died. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, it's become the norm to us to have a grief period where we just numb to it at this point. And like I said a couple episodes ago, it's like we got to the point where if it doesn't affect us, we don't care. You know what I'm saying? So the Kobe Bryant situation was so prevalent because so many people felt pain at the same time. And so many people, it affected so many people where a lot of times, when my grandmother passed, it was just on me. So somebody else didn't feel my same pain as me. And I think when we talk about grief, we don't express our emotions. We don't know where to go to. We don't know who to talk to. Like, I was surprised that how many people relied or actually replied for therapy when I started making those posts. And that's the whole thing is I'm trying to open up those opportunities for people to be in those better situations.
Yeah, because that's the thing about it. We have that old paradigm of therapy where we have a white lady with a bun and some glasses,
Right.
and she got a yellow pad and she's writing down, and you're sitting on the couch. That's not what it is, man. My form of therapy is more experiential. I go out in the community. I go hiking with my clients at times just to get out, be in the wilderness, and express your thoughts. You know what I'm saying?
Mental exercise.
Yeah, mental exercise. I can't even really get into it, but I was at a place where they do massages. You know what I'm saying? I hope this doesn't air before Valentine's Day.
No, I won't. It's next Monday.
Okay.
Oh, well, Saturday. We'll do Saturday.
Okay,
Saturday.
Valentine's Day. And I was talking to a lady, black-owned business. So I went in there really just to get my wife, a massage, you know what I mean? for Valentine's Day, but I ended up signing up, you know, so she could have monthly because it was a sister there. But it's also self-care. That's one of the things that we have to do is self-care. We don't take care of ourselves.
That is true.
We don't do, you know, if we do, it doesn't, it's an excess, it's detrimental to us. But those are the things that I want to bring awareness to the African American and all communities, is that
Somebody
we got to
asked
take
me
care
that
of
too.
ourselves.
They was like, with you doing so much for the community, how do you take care of yourself?
Yeah.
And I was just like, shit, I don't really know about self-care. Like, I might smoke
You
a
got to.
blunt.
I'm a work hard, play hard.
I
work hard, but
and
me
we have
and
a lot
my
of
wife,
fun.
shout out to my wife, Angel. She knows that, you know, it might be a 3-4 month grind for me. But at the end of that rainbow, we going on a trip somewhere. We on somebody's island, you know, doing something because we work so, and those are the fruits of my labor, man.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I feel that in order to de-escalate from, it's traumatic just being a black man in America, bro.
It really is.
That's traumatic enough.
You know, black man and a woman, I'm not even going to separate.
Yeah.
But it's a daily trauma that you can't drive down the street and see some lights, and then there's a tension if those blue lights come on. You feel me?
Your heart
or if
beat
you
fast.
at Lenox or Fitz Mall and you go into a shop, you know you got racks of bands.
Yeah.
You feel me? But they looking at you like you don't deserve.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember when I was working on my master's to become a counselor, I had one of my professors, it was profound. She said, you work so hard, and I know your shoulders are broad, but you don't have to carry every black man's, you know, experience on you. And I did that because I wanted to be the black man when you put a camera in front of my face that I can articulate
My words, right.
my words. And I'm like, yo, Sean, you know, I don't even know what happened though. You know what I mean, dog? You know, that's embarrassing to me.
It's funny you said that because one year that Alabama won a championship, they put the most.
The lady?
No, Alabama football. And
No, but I think it was that. It was a lady.
The lady, man, I
remember
said, who picked him to talk?
Yeah.
Like, it was so bad. It was just like, man, grammar, words, the amount of words he could really use, the way he had to slow himself down and try to speak right, but it still wouldn't come out right. I don't know, is mental health is it diagnosed? Is it something that's hereditary? Is it?
It's all of that.
And I feel like it's everywhere because even in, like, the women and dancers, like, I feel like even strippers, I feel like that's like a close to a mental health issue too, because it's a route that they're taking that
I'm
they're
bringing some dancers on next week, by the way.
Bro, listen,
And
I was just working in the strip club the other night and pinups, like, and I listened to their conversations and I'm like, are y'all really mentally there? Like,
I mean, but I think you have to learn how to cope with what you're going through to be successful in that point. So you have to try to excuse your thought process to the negativity that comes from the light that you're in, to accept what you're doing.
Well, see, that's a traumatic experience because when you have that's a byproduct of not having self-love.
right.
Because if you love yourself, and nothing against how you get your paper, I'm not going to say anything against anybody in any industry, but love yourself. Love who you are. And once you do that, then there are certain things that I'm not going to do. But if you don't have that self-love, there's many of my clients that I ask after, you know, do you really love yourself?
I think that's the biggest thing.
And they pause.
Should never pause. You should
They
know
should
that.
never
You
pause.
should know that.
But you know, you're doing things. You know, you're saying things. You're showing things that. So that's what I want to instill in the people that I work with. First of all, is love yourself, unconditional. It's called USA, and that's called unconditional self-acceptance.
I like
so
that.
USA,
I like that.
You might, if you know, you might not be that patriotic, but USA is given unconditional self-acceptance. I gotta love me.
So I think people mix that up with being selfish.
No,
I think it's being selfless.
And I said that too.
And I tell people all the time, there's like, you know, or some people confuse that with being narcissists.
Yeah.
But I feel like you have to be selfless to love what you like more than anything else. Like, if you're different, you have to embrace your differences and not try to fit in. I think in this culture right now, the climate is to be accepted, to be liked, to be, you know, popping, or to be something that everybody else wants you to be.
Right.
And a lot of times it's hard to go against the grain when you like different things. Like, if you like jazz music, or if you like rock and roll, embrace that about yourself. If you like to read more, then, you know what I'm saying, embrace those different things about yourself to where you are considered an individual and embrace your differences and embrace your uniqueness and your individuality, because a lot of people don't do that. And a lot of times they're so common. Like, you start seeing so many duplicates. It's like, it's the same shit every time.
That's true. I got a crazy story about that, because I'm so proud of my two daughters, because they went to Decatur High School. They grew up in, so if you listen to them, they sound like, and I hate that term, oh, you sound like a white girl. Why? Because you speak properly, so you sound like a white girl.
You sound educated.
Yeah, you sound educated.
I agree.
But one of the things that, growing up, my greatest group, guess who it was?
Earth, Wind, and Fire?
No.
Wu-Tang.
Beatles. Oh. The Beatles.
I love the Beatles,
but I couldn't.
I ain't never heard you listen to the Beatles ever.
Because I was scared.
Oh, okay.
I was scared that,
if
I'm not listening to Run,
if
I'm not listening to Curtis Blow and things like that, that's what I got to listen to, because I live in the Bronx. And if I don't do that, then I might be considered different, and different is soft in the hood.
It's lame.
My daughters listen to whatever they want to listen to, and they don't care. It's what they want, and I'm proud of them for that.
For having that self-love, they know what they want.
That self-love and acceptance, and I know they go through ridicule and things like that, but they're comfortable in their own skin.
I think that's especially with women. I think that's really, really prevalent, because a lot of times you hear that, well, we're doing this because that's what the guys like.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Or guys like, well, we're doing that because this is what the women, you know what I'm saying? And I think a lot of times we're not doing what makes us comfortable or what makes us ourselves, and we're not accepting who we are as our individual self. So I think that's a big thing. Dave, what we looking like over there? Do I need to wrap this shit up?
And make sure y'all wrap it up regardless.
5 more? All right. Well, my whole thing is like, it's knowledge of self. Yeah, because it's good shit, so we can chop it up and we can cut some of it out of it. But I'm honored, you know what I'm saying, to have a father within myself and that I can lean on and have those conversations and have those, well, he long-winded sometimes, so it'd be like I call him for about 5 minutes, it turns to an hour conversation, and he think he Dr. Phil, so then I gotta hear about how I wasn't shit or how my mindset wasn't right and back then. But I appreciate the criticism, or also the part where how I'm growing within the community as a leader. He plays devil's advocate a lot of times, you know what I'm saying, and he challenges me to question a lot of the things that are going to happen. And now I'm thinking about, okay, I can't take on this situation. How would I respond to this situation? Because a lot of times I'm a reactive being. I can deal with shit when the storm. I can stand in the storm all the time. But now I'm learning to plan ahead. Now I'm harder on y'all about how we get in front of a situation instead of waiting until
the situation comes.
Right. And a lot of times that's what it is. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to my dog Derek Grace, who just texted me, said he in town, and so I'm gonna go link with him and get some content. But he's one of those people that says a lot of black people are reactionary and not proactive in their thinking process. Well, we know this shit is coming. Yeah. We know a lot of our hardships are in front of us. We know Valentine's Day is Friday, but we ain't even got a gift or card or nothing.
First of all, I ain't getting you shit, because I feel like Valentine's Day should be for 2 people. For 2 people. It should be, it ain't for 2. First of all, somebody told me somebody said it's a men's Valentine's Day.
Okay, it's a leap year.
Yeah. No, they said it's the actual men's Valentine's Day. You can look it up. It's called Sweeties Day or something. Somebody from DC told me about this shit. I don't know.
Some bullshit.
First of all,
dude,
you're not gonna win that battle, bro.
Dude, trust me.
You married.
50, exactly.
It's different.
3 times.
It's
3
different.
times. I'm getting the shit right. Shout out to my baby Angel. I'm getting it right this time.
The 3rd time is wrong.
Listen, because you learn just as a father, just as a husband, in any relationship, because it's all about relationship. And that's what it is, even in therapy, it's a relationship.
True.
Matter of fact, they said it's usually the most intimate relationship that is non-sexual that you'll ever have.
That'd be the best.
Because you tell things to your therapist. I hear shit every day that people can't, but they have to have that trust. So I know we got to wrap up and things like that. But again, if you need to holler at me, I'm on Facebook, h.scottgordon at facebook.com. You know, inbox me if you want to talk and have, you know, different conversations, because that's all we have to have.
Got to get your IG. We got to
have to.
Everybody over 30 got Facebook.
Yeah, you know, I'm a whole old head, but I really fuck with this generation. I think y'all are the new things. You know what I'm saying? We got to get out to vote. We got to do all of the things that we need to do to empower ourselves.
And we got to know what we're voting for. Like,
yeah.
And what branches really help our current communities that we're in. I think a lot of times, like presidency, we really don't see the actions
Local voting.
Local voting. My son is hard on that. My wife is hard on it. Gets me up. We're going to the poll. I don't even know who the alderman or but that's what it is.
I think it's really prevalent because, you know what I'm saying, I think our generation is the generation that can create change, and that's why one of my brands is the change creators. You know what I mean? And as we look at that, if you look into, we have access to so much information, it's like, whatever you want to know, you can't make an excuse not to know about it, because you can literally pull your phone out, hey Siri, tell me so, you know what I'm saying?
We're in the information age, instant.
Looking for pop music.
Sorry,
right there.
Tell me, I was just playing.
Tell me if Duke beat Florida State.
No, they didn't.
They already did.
But you know, I want to say from an old head, I'm proud of you brothers, man. I'm proud of everybody in here because y'all are putting into action what a lot of people talk about. You know, we talk about making a change.
Yeah, we talked about this
that.
and then we put it
You know what I'm saying? But y'all putting the action, y'all putting the time, y'all have all these brothers here who we got so many immensely talented people in our community, and we got to bring them together. That's one good thing about my son is, like I told him, he's that conduit that can connect so many different entities together because he has that smooth personality and things like that. And I see that y'all have, you know what I'm saying? Because I've been out to feeding the homeless and all the events that y'all do, because I support him 1,000%. But the thing about it is that I've always wanted him to take it to another level. I've ascended to a level. I want him and my legacy, my other children, to take it.
Let me ask you why I got you here. Like, I talk to people about ascending and how you progress through the levels of things that you do through life. Is it something that you look at yearly? Do you look at it monthly? Or do you look at it daily? Because it's a progression, because a lot of people get confused on, like, damn, am I moving up because I've stayed? Because even me, like, I'm stable in my career. I've done it for a long time. I've done it at a high level. I've done it in most places that I couldn't have done it. I've traveled and did all of that. But am I progressing, or do I need to, like?
Well, to answer your question real quick, because I know the dude was doing the one.
Oh yeah, you know,
we're gonna get him. But he's rapping. But to think about it's all of that. I always tell my people that I mentor or that I counsel is that set a 10-year goal, set a 5-year goal, set a 1-year goal.
That's what I was gonna say.
And it goes and reach those and make them a smart goal. They have to be realistic.
Right.
They have to be smart. They have to be attainable. They have to be achievable. But allow yourself, because you're going to fail. We learn more through failures than we do successes.
Right. Gotcha.
But understand that. But whatever you do, reach that goal, man. You know,
or set that goal.
Set that goal. One of the, growing up in New York, I know, shout out to New York, Frankie Crocker once said, and he used to close the show, always reach for the moon, and if you miss, you'll be amongst the stars.
I think the biggest thing, like I said, when you think about progression, is setting goals and also setting plans of action and how you execute those goals. And that's the biggest thing, is to understand where you are and then also hold yourself accountable for what you want to become and where you see your growth and your potential to lie. So unless you don't set those goals, then you just become stagnant. Now you're like, all right, now you don't have a measure of success. You know what I'm saying? Now you're just in the moment. So I feel like you got to say, okay, what's next for me? Or how do I progress? Like, I had to figure out, what do I want more with the SMART Foundation? What's the next step? It's to provide programming, to get into more schools. And so now I'm, speaking at more schools. I'm getting more kids that want me to mentor them. So I think you have to set goals in a time frame where you can see that they can become accessible to you. And so with that being said, we're going to wrap up episode 5 of Convos Create Change. It was a great conversation. I am so delighted to have my father on the panel. He's probably going to become a regular around this motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? And as we go through different situations, especially with grief, especially with any therapeutic, any counseling that we need, I'm going to bring in, y'all hear me speak a lot of wisdom, but that's where I get it from. So I'm glad he was able to open up and speak to y'all directly. Easy going to always be by my side. Forever. PT might pop up next time. Yeah. You never know. But again, thank you for joining in to another episode of Convos Create Change. You can follow us on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify.
We got listeners in Brazil.
Oh yeah. We get
Brazil.
international. So we went from Canada last time when you had our biggest fans. We also got some
I don't speak
international love
Portuguese, but
from
okay.
Brazil last episode.
I know who it is in Brazil.
Okay.
I
Is
finally found my father. Dad, I'm telling you, I've been working for a long time.
Right there.
I told you this when I was 11
Real
years old.
Quickly before we go, appreciate Easy, Smart, even though I didn't name him that, but Smart. You know. But the thing about it is, like I tell people, find what you love and do that, and you'll never work a day in your life.
So with that, we sign off. Episode 5, Convos Create Change. Thank you for being a part of it.
Appreciate y'all for having me.
Love.